Hello. I'm just going to wait about 30 seconds as usual just to make sure that everything is good, up and running, and we are properly live. Right, I can see that we're live now. Well, hello everybody and welcome back to MUFC MPB here on YouTube. My name is Brooks, of course, and this will be the first afternoon show or early show that we've done on the channel. It will be the first that I'm doing, of course. I'll be doing them on Monday, and I'm going to be doing another one this Wednesday as well. Today we'll be speaking about a few things. We're going to be focusing mainly on the players that will be arriving back from injury, players that include Raphaël Varane, Mason Mount, Sofian Amrabat, and Kobe Mainoo, my little star boy, in time for the Bayern Munich game and then the Burnley game, which does follow in the Premier League on the weekend. But I just want to say hi, and hello, Spencer. I hope you guys are doing all right. I do just want to say as well, we are currently on 1,398 subscribers, so hopefully we can get that to 1,400 in this episode. That would be absolutely brilliant. Remember to make sure, if you haven't already, do hit the like button. Share it with people on Twitter, anything that you can think of to share it on. We want to try and build a little community in here. But we're just going to get started off right at the top of the show with some good news. So, alright guys, I will just get the actual report. Breaking news. Erik has confirmed Raphaël Varane and Mason Mount will return to the team shortly. Oh my god. Honestly, after watching the Brighton game on the weekend, I'm still annoyed. We just got classed. We got schooled. Roberto De Zerbi and his Brighton team just had a better game. I think in the first 20 minutes maybe, you're seeing quick passing. The press that we put on was good. The confidence that we showed was high. And to be perfectly honest with you, I thought we were going to wipe the floor with Brighton. I'm not going to lie. I thought the difference in formation, it was a more narrow diamond formation that we were playing with, because we didn't start a right winger, even though we had one on the bench. I thought it was going to work. It started so positively, but as usual, Manchester United, we're just not clinical. We have chances, but we just don't take them. Whereas Brighton, one chance, one goal through Danny Welbeck, and then our heads just dropped. I think we might have exerted too much energy in the first 20 minutes, or maybe it was just a bit of a facade. But having someone like Mason Mount to add to that in the midfield, the press, the quality on the ball, and also having someone at the back. As I've said, Varane is our best defender. I've also said Martinez is our best defender. I think they're both our best defenders, but in different ways. But I'll just say hi to Alfred the Maverick. What is up? I'm good. I think Raphaël Varane is our best defender pound for pound, but I wouldn't put him as our best defender because of his availability. It's terrible. He's always injured, and I think availability is possibly, in football, availability is somebody's best attribute. And I think when you look at someone like Bruno Fernandes, whether or not you think he's the most technically gifted player in the world, whether or not you think he should be captain, all of the negatives that get associated with his name, I think if you look at his availability and the fact that he's always available, it adds to him so much. He's reliable. I think having a reliable player, having many reliable players is very beneficial to the team ethic, to the way the game is played, to the chemistry that you have on the pitch. And that's why I personally wouldn't have Varane as Manchester United's best defender over Lisandro Martinez. But when he is in the team, when Martinez and Varane are playing together, they're very good. They understand each other very well. I think they complement each other's game very well. And I think the style of play that Martinez has in terms of an all-action, he will just slide through you. He will do anything to get the ball compared to Raphaël Varane's similar sort of style of play, but it's more composed, it's more relaxed, it's more fluid. I think they just complement each other brilliantly. So hopefully he's available to possibly even start against Bayern Munich, but I wouldn't be too hopeful for that. And with Mason Mount, again, I wouldn't be too hopeful for a start against Bayern Munich, because I think it would be quite silly to throw someone in from the beginning against, you know, one of the best teams in Europe. So don't expect to see them start, but they will be back for the Bayern Munich game, hopefully. Maybe we'll see them get minutes off the bench. Maybe we'll see them start, but whatever happens, obviously, hopefully we get a win over in Munich. It's going to be difficult. But if not, then Burnley is the next game in the Premier League, by which time we should have, if I just get to the report here, by which time we should have... Erik Ten Hag says he expects some of the injured players to return against Burnley: Mason Mount, Raphaël Varane, Sofiane Amrabat, and Kobbie Mainoo. Right there, you have absolutely revolutionised the midfield, in my opinion. And I do want to speak about the midfield today, because I feel like we have a little bit to talk about there. But of course, during pre-season, we saw a bit of Kobbie Mainoo before he unfortunately did pick up the injury against Real Madrid. So we do know what he possesses in terms of quality, in terms of what he can bring to the team, his own sort of confidence and swagger. I think it's something that's missing from the midfield, because at the moment we're playing Casemiro, we're playing Christian Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes, Hannibal Mejbri came off the bench the other day, scored a brilliant goal, but it was a bit too little too late. I think having Mainoo, Mason Mount and Amrabat effectively its own midfield, it could be its own midfield, I think is a massive boost, because it means you have way more options. It means that you can rotate. It means that you can, if this isn't working, you know, on this day, Mainoo could come on, or Amrabat could start, or this and that. It can just change so many things. And I don't think we have the points that we deserve, in terms of, I think we should have more. And I think we've just been really unlucky. Honestly, with the injuries that we've had, with some of the decisions that have been very, very a bit iffy, we just haven't had the best of luck at all. And I think, hopefully, the only reason I'm staying calm and the only reason I'm not shouting and ranting and raving is because we're only 5 games in, or 6 games in, or whatever. And we have plenty of time for these players to come back. And I just really hope at some point in the near future, we actually have everybody available. And I think once we do have the majority of our players available, I think we'll start seeing a more cohesive unit on the pitch. Because think about it, during pre-season, their manager is working with a set group of players in which he thinks is going to be the starting 11 or the starting 14 or 15. 6 and 7 and 8 of them go and get injured. So you're playing with players now that you weren't necessarily prepared for, and I think it does have an impact on the way you play and the stuff that happens on the pitch. And it's clear and evident to see we are not a bad team, we're just not performing very well at the moment. And I think we go through this too often, which is why the reaction is why it is, which is why the reaction is why it is, which is why the reaction is the way it is. We just go through it too much, but it's something, it happens to every club. Look at Chelsea, they've spent $1 billion and you probably couldn't name their starting lineup because they have a lot of injuries, as do we. I think this is a massive, massive plus, and I think it's just at the right time, because obviously the loss against Brighton was, I wouldn't say it was embarrassing in a sense. I think it was just disheartening to see, because we are seeing a lot of players. I'll name them. I'll name the good ones first. I'll start with the positive. I believe Reguilon had a very good game. Diogo Dalot, Højlund, when he was on the pitch, had a good time. Obviously Mejbri came on and scored the goal. Other than that, everybody was either average or not very good. And I think it goes on for that long because we don't have anybody to bring off the bench, anybody of experienced quality. And with someone like Mason Mount, who's going to be coming back very soon, with Sofiane Amrabat, you have 2 players in the midfield there who are very experienced, Look, Mount's won the Champions League. I don't know if he's won the Premier League. He's won. He's got trophies. He's got caps. He's got experience in every competition. Then you've got Amrabat. He's 26 or 27. He has experience playing European football. He's absolutely bossed it at the World Cup. He is a good player. And then you have Mainu, who's just this big ball of impetuousness, and it's because he's young and he's exciting and he's fearless. And I think those three players, a combination of their three play styles and personalities and confidence levels and abilities, I think it just gives us so many more options in the midfield to actually see these games through and actually have, put a foot in the ground and build something. I think people really underestimate the importance of having backups and depth on the bench, because they just see the Casemiro, Fernandes, Eriksen. Yeah, on paper, the names, they're good names and it should be a good midfield, but Casemiro hasn't been playing well of late. It would have been amazing if we could have had Amrabat available for the whole time, because maybe Amrabat would have been starting by now. Maybe he'd be in better form than Casemiro. This is the type of issues that we have to deal with. Casemiro is not playing well at the moment, but we have to still keep sticking with him, even though he shouldn't really be starting right now. Because if we did have someone else, if we did have an actual backup who was good enough and fit, he'd definitely be playing right now. And I think it's important to understand these complications when you're reacting to stuff, when you're trying to process things. You have to be realistic, and you have to look, okay, I say realistic. We should be winning that game because of the money that we spent and because of the players that we have. But there's just so much going on, and I think it's difficult to even get a minute of focus at that club right now. Y says Mainu back for Burnley. I'd hope he'd be even on the bench for the match against Bayern Munich. But if not Burnley, yes, hopefully. Spencer Parkhouse says Ten Hag had to play McTominay when he wanted to sell him. Exactly. These are the things that we're talking about. And I think maybe one of the reasons why McTominay wasn't sold is because of the fact that there were injuries and little knocks and reasons why people couldn't play. And I think, as bad as it is, as bad as it sounds, if you don't want to hear it, that does happen. It's football. We've seen it happens during matches. A player comes on the pitch and then someone else gets injured, so now they can't come on. It's like, we want to sell McTominay. We're waiting for the right offer to come in. The right offer does come in, but we have to think, we've got a couple injuries here. We can't let McTominay go yet. I think it just works like that, and I think a lot of stuff has just happened at the wrong time for Manchester United. Every team picks up injuries. It's not new. It's not something that, why is it just happening to us? What I can say, why is it just happening to us, is all of our injuries and all of our non-footballing things have just happened at the exact same time. And it's just meant that we have over 11 players out, I believe over 11 players out. Over 11 players that could really, maybe apart from Heaton, that could maybe say, I kind of want to start next week and have a reason, because they've been here, they've done it, they're good. Obviously they're not informed because they haven't been playing, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. Matt Gummy says injuries, drama, new people in, key people out, the Glazer protest, a new manager. That's why I'm not super upset about the loss. The tension in the clubhouse is probably really high right now. Exactly. Obviously when I was watching the Brighton game, as I said, the first 20 minutes, I was really hopeful. I was uplifted. I was looking at this and thinking, where has this Manchester United been? Why can't we do this? And then the inevitable, against the run of the game, Brighton, one chance, one goal, Danny Welbeck. Clinical. When we come up against teams, they're just clinical. And I will be real with you guys. I'm a bit scared for the match against Bayern Munich because of who they have, because of how they're playing. They're just scoring goals and goals and more goals. And of course they added Harry Kane, who in my opinion is the best striker in the world, and I think he does kind of complete their team. He's like the point at the top of the pyramid. He's able to link up. You know what? We've been watching Harry Kane for years. You know what he brings to the team and you know what he can do. And I think in a European powerhouse of a team like Bayern Munich, I think it's going to be a very, very difficult match. But I'm not going to be upset if we lose, because I'm I know. Okay, I will be upset if we lose. I will be more understanding than previous years because of everything that's happening, because of the players that we have out, the players that are out of form. It's going to be a very, very tough watch. I won't lie. Spencer, I genuinely fear for Ten Hag if we lose further games in a short space of time, which will be a real shame because he is the right manager short of getting Sir Alex back. I agree with you. I am worried for his position, but as a fan of the club, I'm not worried, if that makes sense, in terms of what I'm seeing, because I understand there are so many circumstances. I've said to my friends, I've said to some people, I don't know if I've said it on here, but I'm honestly waiting for there just to be a full selection. Because I feel like it's difficult to make up your mind and come to foregone conclusions if he's playing with players that he doesn't want to play with. He's bought players, yeah, we've made signings, but they're not playing. They're just not playing. And I think it's unfair to say, yeah, maybe Ten Hag out, or you should be doing this, or blah, 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 when his signings aren't even there to be played because they're injured or they're out. And I think we just have to take that into consideration. Matt Gummy, I understand your point exactly. Ten Hag is managing a lot that other managers haven't had to do. I just hope things improve for him. It will take time to see improvements. People looking for someone to blame is just silly. There's too many things to blame, lol. The goal for this season is to get these guys in sync and get top 10. To get top 10. No, the goal this season is still Champions League football. We have to be finishing in the top 4. There is no excuses not to be finishing in the top 4. I know we're not doing very well at the moment, 5 or 4 games into the season, but there's 33 or 34 games left. We have more than enough time to secure Champions League football comfortably, but that will be the goal along with another trophy. We do want to be winning trophies every season, but top 10, we're not Chelsea, we're not anybody else. We're Manchester United. The goal is, for me, Champions League football, because I'm realistic. I am realistic. Spencer says painful now Wan-Bissaka is out for a couple of weeks. I thought it was out for a couple months. I saw it was 2 months. What? Spencer says Man United website saying several weeks. Stefan says I read he was out for 2 months. Yeah, with hamstring issues, which again, more injuries. And at some point, maybe do we have to take a look at the club's facilities and the staff that are employed there, because this many injuries right at the beginning of the season. These aren't small injuries, by the way. Apart from Mainu, who was injured through a collision, because I believe it was Rodrigo that fell on his leg or knee in an awkward landing. That can't be, associated with maybe dodgy medical staff, but these other players with these muscle injuries and getting injured every week, and I think we have to be looking at some stuff in the back of the club, because this is terrible, absolutely terrible. Stefan says, "Oh no, Dalot is going to get cooked." I don't know. Dalot is quite good. I think he's underrated defensively, because what you have at Manchester United is one defender, so 2 right backs, one defender who's the best 1v1 defensive right back, but not the best going forward. And then in Dalot, you have someone who's comfortable, very, very comfortable on the ball, dribbling, going forward, taking shots, getting crosses in. However, isn't as effective defensively. That's, not me saying he's bad defensively, but he will get recognised more for his on-the-work ball than his defensive duties. And I think against Kaoru Mitoma, he was very good. He had a very good game on the weekend, and it went under the radar because of how, the game went, the game panned out, and we got slapped. But I think he did have a good game, as did Reguilon. And of course, they'll both be starting against Bayern Munich. Hopefully, Varane gets minutes. Now that I'm thinking about it, we have to protect Varane. I don't want him starting. I don't want his first game back to be against Kane, Gnabry, Coman, Musiala, and flipping Leroy Sane. I think, bring him off the bench in the last few minutes or something. Just get some running into those legs. Wan-Bissaka low-key being one of our best players. I think there's an argument to say he has been our best player. I think he's been the most consistent since the beginning of the season. Matt Gummy says, top 10 I believe is most realistic at this moment. I'm managing my expectations with all the injuries, but after Bayern, we'll see if we're moving forwards or backwards. I want to see him top 4, of course. I just think top 10... I know it's realistic. Like, we're going to get top 10. Like, if we don't get top 10, big problems. Ten Hag will go. But top 10, even under our... I think the lowest we've ever finished is 7th. And we're not as bad as that. Last season, we finished 3rd. The season before that was factually our worst, like, in terms of points. Can't remember what position it was, but it wasn't peak. It wasn't like 9th or it wasn't 10th. I think we get Champions League. I just think we do it because we're good. We're good enough. As I'm saying that, I'm thinking, we're good enough to get Champions League because of the manager we have, the players, the experience, the experience in the team. But me just saying there, we're going to get Champions League because we're good enough, I instantly thought that's what the Glazers think. That has to be what the Glazers think. That's why they're reluctant to invest. That's why they take so long to do stuff. That's why they think, yeah, let's just stay for as long as we can, get that Champions League money or whatever. I think it might be a dangerous mindset to have. Sorry, guys, by the way. I am very, very tired. I'm working nights. So if I start drifting or just start waffling, please excuse me. I am absolutely shattered. Zayn says Lindelof can play right back and Amrabat. They can, I guess, but it's not something that you really want to see. Stefan, I would honestly like to know what our medical team does at the club or what they do in training. Our players are dropping like flies. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. We have to take a look at in-house stuff at this point because, yeah, 3 or 4 players get injured, cool, unlucky. But when there's 15 players out, we have to look at and think, we are doing something wrong here. This isn't normal because that's not a normal amount of players to have out at the same time at the beginning of a season, injured. Not for like 3 or 4 days. This isn't a Football Manager save where someone's got a cold and you have to decide whether to treat them at the club or send them home for 3 days. This is Wan-Bissaka's out for 2 months. Kobe Mainoo was out for a couple months. Mason Mount was out for a long time. Raphaël Varane out all the time. I think, I don't know, like, didn't we just get the Arsenal guy? The guy that came from Arsenal as a something medical. Can't remember his name, but I'm sure we got someone from Arsenal. Some would say it's sabotage. Stefan says, do you think this may affect the Reguilon deal regarding the break clause in Jan? Do you think the number of injuries we have and could potentially force us to keep him till the end of the season? Yes, but to be perfectly honest with you, if he carries on performing at a very minimum the same as he did against Brighton, I would keep him happily because he was one of the better players for us on the pitch. I think he was, from the minute the game kicked off until the minute he wasn't playing, he was 105% effort. I think, as I said before, he's technically good. He's a technically good dribbler. His dribbling is sound, and I think when you have a defender who's good going back at the same time as good going forward, we had it on the right with that. Listen, I don't think it's a surprise that 2 of our better players against Brighton were Diogo Dalot and Sergio Reguilon because of the way we set up, because of the more narrow formation in terms of you had the 4-back Casemiro sitting and then 2 centre mids, not a right mid and a left mid, but 2 centre mids in Christian Eriksen and McTominay behind Bruno Fernandes, almost playing in playing in an attacking midfield position behind Rashford and Højlund. I don't think it's a surprise that Reguilon and Dallon had good games because they would have had to, one, cover a lot more ground on the flanks and two, they would have been a lot more depended upon on the ball in wide areas because they were the players that were providing the width against Brighton, and they did it well. There was a couple of clips of Dalot and Reguilon, beating their opposite defender with skill and flair and confidence, and then putting the ball into the box. And I think just keep doing that. If it doesn't work, do it over and over again, because in football, you're going to score crosses. It happens every game. It happens every week. And I think, yeah, we might not have scored from a cross in the match against Brighton, but the signs were there. All we have to do is... And it's not something we've been doing a lot of, to be perfectly honest, putting crosses like that into the box. And I think when our players get more used to it, they see Dalot reaching the byline, they see Reguilon reaching the byline, they're going to think to themselves, okay, this is where I need to be positioning myself ready for a header, instead of, they might not even get it in the box, and just being reactionary, basically. I think stuff will come, and I can see the vision. That's why I'm annoyed, but I'm not in meltdown, because I can see what Ten Hag is trying to do, and it's really frustrating because it's not working, because we've got so many injuries, because players are being lazy, and it's just annoying. But of course, with the players that are coming back, Mount, Manu, Varane, and Amrabat, I think it just adds so many more options, and the depth is going to be better, and we have basically a whole new midfield as well. Things will be looking up. But I just do want to move on to something else in regards to Jadon Sancho. We are back talking about Jadon Sancho. It's reported by Semra Hunter. She's a football broadcast journalist for La Liga TV, ITV Football, Sky Sports News, Stan Sports News, and Play eFootball. She is reporting that Barcelona are keeping an eye on Jadon Sancho's situation ahead of January. And I'm not against it. Jadon Sancho is the type of player, in terms of his play style, his technical ability, that I think could do very well at Barcelona, given their philosophy and their styles of play. Only way I'd get rid of him is if it was a permanent deal. Just get the money at this point. Spencer says, you can't even blame the World Cup on multiple games last year because several of our injured players didn't go to the World Cup. Very true. Man United fan says, hello mate, I'm really worried about our team now. Everything is going against us right now. Yes, some of the decisions that go against us, we're just not very lucky at the moment. But listen, it happens. Football goes like this, and we could go to the Allianz and win, and then our fortunes have changed, and then we've got more confidence, and players are coming back, and then look, before you know it, we've won 10 games in a row, and it could happen. It's happened before. I think, you should start to get worried when we have everybody back and the results don't change. But for now, I'm upset, I'm annoyed, I'm like, damn it, man. But at the same time, I'm like, I can see the vision. I understand players are out. I can see what we're doing on the pitch. We just need to be able to do it for the whole game. But yeah, it's tough at the moment. Nico Games says, turn your mic up, turn your volume up, because my mic is up. Stefan says, thoughts on Højlund's performance? I think he did well considering he got no service and the one chance he scored, even though it was disallowed. I think he was very good. I have to be careful with what I say, because I'm scared for Ten Hag. But when the fans booed the substitution, it was a positive and a negative. A positive because it showed how much appreciation the fans had for Højlund. In a way, it was their round of applause for the game that he's played, and then they wanted him to stay on the pitch because they felt he could genuinely get a goal here. But the boos are for the manager. They weren't for the player. I think Erik ten Hag has to be very, very careful, because not just at Manchester United, but when you lose the fans in the stadium, it's like time is ticking. And I think it will be difficult to disagree with that because fans have a lot of power. I think fans in the stadium, they might not be the most accurate representation of the whole fan base, but they do represent, I would say, the majority. And the boos were loud. That's the loudest boo I've heard in a very, very long time at Old Trafford. And for that reason, I would be worried for Ten Hag because people will be looking at that. Club uppers will be looking at that. And I think he has to be careful. Brooks, have you seen the Anthony update? If this is the update regarding one of the women like with dropping the charge or withdrawing the complaint, I don't know what the correct terminology is, but yes, I have. If it's something else, no, I haven't. Can we get Rooney out of retirement? Bring it. Listen, when he gets his badges, and well, obviously he already has his badges, but when he gets a lot more experience, Rooney will be Manchester United manager one day. He might do a little detour at Everton before he gets here, but he will be the manager of Manchester United one day, if he's good enough, of course. But yeah, back to Jadon Sancho and Barcelona. Once again, it is time for a poll. Get ready for the question. There we go. There's the first poll up of the episode. Why says Mount back for Burnley. He should be back even on the bench for the match against Bayern Munich, which will be a huge plus and something that I'm really hoping for because, as I've been saying, we need the extra depth, we need the quality, we just need the options. We need more options in the midfield, and Mason Mount gives us that. And Mason Mount does give us that in bucket loads as well as Manu and Amrabat. So yeah, hopefully for the match against Bayern, we see all of them at least on the bench or maybe getting a few minutes. But definitely by Burnley, I'm hoping that all of these players will be back and ready to at least sit on the bench for us. But of course, the next match on Wednesday is against Bayern Munich. So what we are going to do now is give our predicted lineups for the match against Bayern Munich on Wednesday. But before that, just a quick, if you haven't already, make sure you do hit that subscribe button because, guys, we are on 1,399 subscribers. So one away from 1,400. So if we could get that in this episode, that would be absolutely amazing. And we are currently on 8 likes. If we could get that to 10 likes in this episode, that would also be absolutely amazing and greatly appreciated. If you haven't already as well, make sure you do hit, do follow at MUFCMPB over on Twitter, as well as myself, Ash and Anil, who are the other two presenters on this channel. Our Twitter handles will be in the description down below, as well as at MUFCMPB. Make sure you follow for all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news, all the gossip, all the leaks, all the statements from the club on the page. As soon as they come out, they will be out on MUFC MPB. So make sure you go and follow. But yes, my starting lineup for the match against Bayern Munich, I think we will definitely go with the same system that we had against Burnley, because it worked until the players stopped trying, I guess, or they conceded a goal and their heads dropped. But I would go with Onana in goal. I will type this out as I say it, just so you guys can see it. Onana in goal. You got Dalot at right back with... I'm gonna go with Lindelof because I don't feel like Erik Ten Hag is gonna start Raphaël Varane straight away, especially in a match like this, next to Martinez at the back and Reguilon, of course, at left back. Hopefully he's able to carry on his impressive performance. I'm gonna go Casemiro and Amrabat in the middle, because I feel like that is a combination that could work, as well as Fernandes just in No, wait, what? No, I'm going to go with Casemiro, Amrabat, Ericsson. So, Dalot, Lindelof, Martinez, Reguilon, Casemiro, Amrabat, Ericsson, and Fernandes. With, of course, Rashford and Højlund up front. For the match against Bayern Munich, that will be my starting lineup. The one that I think Erik ten Hag will field. Any Manu update? Yes, he should be back by the Burnley game. He should be back this week. Reports are saying. So I'm hoping to see him at least on a bench against Burnley by the weekend. But Stefan says, I think one issue in the team. Wait, where is it? I think one issue in the team was McTominay. He played poorly, shying away from receiving the ball. It's like playing with 10 men, by the way. He played 85 and had 20 touches. Shocking. Yeah, I saw that. Wasn't it like 15 passes or something as well? We don't have to speak about that because we know we've been there before saying the same stats with a couple of the players in the midfield. And I think, honestly, mostly the reason he starts and plays so many games for us is because of his physical attributes and his physicality and his willingness to put his body on the line, more so than his technical ability. Listen, it's him. Like, he's 25 or 26. These should be his prime years, and there's just been no sort of progression to his game. And I think it's a shame because he's come through the academy. You can tell he loves the club and he really wants to play for Manchester United. But there just doesn't seem to be any improvement at this point, and it's kind of frustrating because you can see a player there, and you can see someone who has the body and he has the athleticism and the ball striking ability to be a really good player. But it's just his technical ability and the decisions he makes sometimes are just a bit like, why have you done that? Why did you do that? Why have you done this? And when you're continuously questioning a player and their decision making, you just have to think you're not good enough. You're not the one that we need in that position right now. Yeah, you're a good player to have come off the bench, when you want to close out a game or when your back's against the wall, because he will put his body on the line. But when you're Manchester United and you want to be dominating games and you want to be scoring goal after goal, he's not the man. He's not the player that you need in your team. And I think it's a shame because when I did see he only had 15 passes, it wasn't even like, whoa, he only had 15. It was like, oh man, again, like that's what it is like with McTominay, and it's quite frustrating because I do believe he is a very good player. It's just a shame we cannot get the best out of him. Stefan also says we waste Bruno playing him at right wing, but it's what has to be done with all the injuries at the moment. And yeah, I think with Mason Mount coming back definitely this week, I think we will see a bit of Mount on. We might see a bit of Mount wing play, some step overs. Couple of Ronaldo chops, couple of nutmegs here and there, and then balls into the box. And we've been dying for that. We are crying and crying and crying for people to be swinging balls in. Which is why Rashford, I think, is getting a lot of stick at the moment because of the chance that he didn't play Højlund in for a quite literal tap-in to an open goal. But that's just what comes with when new players start playing together. It will come. It will happen, and it will be a regular happening when it starts to happen. But more on the Bayern game. The lineup that I have here: Onana, Dalot, Lindelof, Martinez, Reguilon, Casemiro, Amrabat, Ericsson, Fernandes, Rashford, and Højlund, I believe will be the starting lineup against Munich in the Allianz Arena on Wednesday. But I just want to talk about the score because I'm scared. I think the thing is with Manchester United, you never know. We go into some matches confident, very confident sometimes, and it might be the worst match you've ever seen Manchester United play. But you also go into matches with Manchester United not so confident, and we get a win in weird places, at weird times, completely undeserved. And I think a match in the Allianz against Bayern Munich on Wednesday, we've done it against PSG at the Parc des Princes, or Parc de France. I don't know what the correct pronunciation of the stadium is, but we've done it against PSG, one of the biggest teams in Europe. So I think we can do it against Bayern Munich because at the moment they're leaking goals. They're weak defensively, and I think that's something which we should really be trying to take advantage of. Of course, they've got Harry Kane, in my opinion, the best striker in the world. They've got Leroy Sané, who's in great form, like absolutely brilliant form. They've got Gnabry and Coman. Of course, Musiala, players like Conrad Lima, who I would have liked to see at Manchester United. I think the one thing which we're going to have to try and take advantage of is Rashford against, I believe it will be Mazraoui. I think, yeah, Mazraoui is a very good, player. But I think we're going to have to hope and pray that Rashford is on form and he's flying and he's confident. And for some things, between the Brighton match and the match against Bayern, something's clicked and he's just like, yeah, I'm blah, blah, blah. I think we need to kind of hope for that. I hope we get a win, obviously. I'll be happy with a draw. Depending on the type of defeat, if it happens, I will be okay, or what's going on. If it's another 10-2 aggregate like Arsenal, big problems. But if it's like a 1-0, or if we just lose, I will take stuff from the game. But ultimately, I do want us to win, and I do believe we can win because we do have the quality. We just need to find it and execute the plans that we work on in training. Because sometimes it doesn't look like we work on anything during the week. That's what it just looks like in games. But Mahad Abdi says, I doubt Amrabat will play. I think he will get minutes. I hope he starts. Spencer says, it's like the match versus Barca. That was exactly. Barcelona last season. If you're referring to the ones again last season. Barcelona last season. At the time we were playing them in the Europa League, I think they'd only conceded like less than 7. It was either 8 or less than 7 goals at home all campaign. And that was by the knockout stages of the Europa League, by the way. And we went there and scored 2. And I think Rashford scored the first one. I don't know if is that an assist for the second one? Or I think Bruno might have got the assist, actually, if it was an assist. But Rashford was the reason for our 2 goals. And I think at that time you had a player who genuinely believed every single shot he took would go in because he was scoring a lot of goals. And I think we need that sort of confidence back. But we also need a selfless player who's going to put the ball in for Højlund, because I've seen someone here say Højlund is a hustler. I saw it, but I can't see it right now. I don't know where the comment's gone, but I saw it. Wyatt says, I think we'll beat Bayern. I like your confidence, and I'm going to join you with that, but I do believe we could very well lose. Man United fan says, Brighton game was the most painful game I've watched so far, honestly, but I expect us to lose at Munich. Don't expect us to lose. Keep the confidence, bro. Keep the confidence. Kane will be licking his lips, and he's been in good form as well. He's been probably one of their best players this season already. Stefan says, we're going to be facing Kim Min-jae, the player we should have got. Sorry, guys. Oh. Gosh. Yeah, I really wanted Kim. Kim Min-jae, that is. It's a shame, but, the Glazers. What can you do? Spencer says, yeah, last season's matches, that's how we need to turn up in Germany. And I think we will. That's the thing. The Champions League is a different kettle of fish, guys. I think we really can turn up tomorrow on Wednesday in the Champions League, because it's like, have you not heard players talk about, once you're underneath those lights, once you hear the Champions League music, it's a whole different world. Like, the Champions League is serious stuff. Sorry, guys. It's one of the competitions where you put it on the same level as the World Cup. You want to play in the World Cup. You want to play Champions League football. And I think you're a different player. You're a different player in those moments. Adam Calvert says, I bumped into a Man City supporter today and she didn't say anything. She just nodded her head. Yeah, she feels bad, bro. She feels bad for you. I can't lie. We've had a tough first 5 games. Good things to come. Yeah, exactly. Good things will come. As I've been saying throughout the show, I'm reserving my judgment for when we have all of the available players. for selection, so we can really come to a conclusion on whether or not we think this is going to work. Because at the moment, so many players out, tactics are going to have to change, stuff is going to have to be altered, and I think you don't get really what the manager wants. You don't get the manager's full vision when you don't have all the players available. And I think that's just the harsh reality of it. And I think some people won't realise it. Some people will just be like, it's excuses. But when you assemble a specific team with specific personalities and traits and qualities, and then you have to use subs and players that don't fit, like it's like square pegs in round holes. I think that's what it is at the moment. When we get all of the square pegs in the square holes, then we can see if the board is pretty. Then we can see if we're getting results. And if we don't, then then a different conversation needs to be had. But for now, we just have to be patient and hope that the players can do the jobs that they need to do when they're on the pitch. But guys, before I do say that we are coming to the end of the show, make sure you do hit that subscribe button. We're still on 1,399 subscribers. One more of you just needs to subscribe to the channel, and we can get that to 1,400 and help MUFC MPB reach the next milestone. If you haven't already, make sure you do hit that like button. We are currently on 9. Let's get that to 10 during the stream. And if you make sure you do follow at MUFC MPB over on Twitter for all of the latest Manchester United news, transfer news, leaks, statements, anything to do with Manchester United, MPB will report on it, as well as myself, Ash Meppers and Anil, the 3 presenters of MUFC MPB here on YouTube. Our Twitter handles will be in the description down below, so make sure you do give a follow to the page. You heard the breaking news about Wan-Bissaka. Yeah, he's going to be out with a hamstring injury for a couple of months. As I said, judgment will be held until all the players are available, and this is just another setback. It's a shame because he's been one of our best players this season. But it's football. It's the part and parcel of football. But yes, guys, make sure as well, Spencer is right. Share the video. It does help build our community, as that is something that we do want to do. Man United fans says Upamecano is an upgrade on Maguire. Rashford and Højlund should exploit. Yeah, Rashford. Last time Rashford played against Højlund, Upamecano in the Champions League, wasn't it? The match against Red Bull Leipzig when he came on and scored a hat-trick against Upamecano, and he had him on skates. Upamecano is a sketchy defender. I wouldn't have him at United. I think he's so error-prone. His concentration levels are... they're worse than mine, and I have ADHD, so it's a bit... it's a bit tricky. It's a bit tricky for him at the top. I think it's a good job we didn't sign him because of all the errors that I've seen him make. But it will be a tough game regardless because, it's Bayern Munich and they're better than us. But guys, thank you for tuning in to this 1 p.m. show. I will be back on Wednesday at 1 p.m. and then I'll be back at 7 p.m. on a Thursday with my normal evening show. But hopefully you guys have had a good morning, and I hope you guys do have a good rest of the day. If you're at uni, be careful, have fun at freshers, make sure you get your uni work done. If you're at work, you shouldn't be watching this anyway. And I'll see you guys later. I'll see you guys tomorrow at 1 p.m. On Wednesday at 1 p.m. Goodbye. Oh, no, one last comment. And he had a penalty he gave away to someone else. I remember that. Yeah, Rashford had him on skates. And I hope he has him on skates again, because I feel like he will be playing centrally with Højlund. But we can discuss this on Twitter. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Like, subscribe, and share the video.